us today in Dallas. We've been here a couple of days taking care of the people's business. We appreciate our friends from PSAC and some members of the public also join us today. Thank you also if you're joining us online. Today we're going to hear from our committee out briefs, which obviously are our futures, our public safety, our advocacy group, and our financial briefing. We'll also hear an update from public safety advocacy. I'd like to ask the board secretary to go ahead and do a roll call and confirm that we meet a quorum. Secretary.
Okay, thank you, Sheriff. I'll start. I'll mark you as present. Billy Bob Jr. is not able to join us today. Damon Darcy.
Present.
Alexandra Fernandez Navarro.
Present.
Eric Gall.
Present.
Sean McDevitt.
Present.
Warren Mickens.
Present.
Jocelyn Moore.
Present.
Jeffrey Norman.
Present. Present.
Rashid Scarlett.
Present.
Tricia Wolford.
Present.
Mr. Chair, we do have a quorum for the board as well as for all 4 committees. Now I will read the conflict statement. Prior to participating in the FirstNet Authority Combined Board and Committees meeting today, the board members have reviewed the agenda as well as the conflict of interest guidance provided by the Ethics Law and Program Division of the Department of Commerce Office of General Counsel regarding the conflict of interest standards that apply to the board members. All board members have responded prior to today's meeting that they do not have a conflict and will not need to recuse themselves from participation in any portion of this meeting. Thank you.
Outstanding. Ladies and gentlemen, members of the board, you have the board amendments from the previous meeting in front of you. If you would take a minute and make sure that these are correct with either no additions or changes. If not, I would entertain a motion that we accept these minutes.
Jeffrey Norman, I move that we accept these minutes.
Second.
Mr. Chairman, this is Jocelyn Moore. I second the motion.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Abstention, like sign. Outstanding. At this time, I'll turn it over to Chief Lombard with our public safety advocate. Listen, they're here to help. How about that? Let's just go with that. Public Safety Advocacy Committee. And I'm not giving you the acronym, so you get after it. Chief, what's going on?
Well, thank you very much, Chair Atkinson. I apologize in advance for my my diminishing voice here. A little too much yelling over some of the conversation last night, or not yelling, but talking loudly. Thank you. Next slide, please. Our PSAC in-person meeting scheduled for late January was postponed due to weather. We had rescheduled and that was postponed due to shutdowns. And so here we are, third time's a charm. To bring the PSAC together, we held a well-attended virtual meeting on February 10th. I'm pleased to report that we completed our PSAC membership recommendation and appointment process for the new term that began January 1st, 2026. Chair Atkinson has also appointed 2 well-qualified members to fill vacancies on the PSAC Executive Committee. We are proud to welcome Steve Devine, who represents APCO. That's one of our 911 partners. APCO International as their CTO. Steve brings 40 years of public safety experience to the Executive Committee. We also welcome Chief Keith Kelly, who represents the International Association of Chiefs of Police. Chief Kelly is a 27-year veteran of the Athens-Clarke County, Georgia Police Department, who has focused on communications technology and its applications, such as Next Gen 911. Both men are outstanding additions to the Executive Committee, and I thank them for their willingness to serve, and I thank Chair Atkinson's willingness to appoint them to the Executive Committee. We also received updates from our 2 active working groups. One, to recommend best practices for engaging public safety facing information technology offices, and a second to develop updated materials to facilitate productive engagement on site permitting. In addition, the Tribal Advisory Group, or the TAG, held an in-person meeting in Washington, D.C. on February 11th and 12th. I was unfortunately unable to attend as I was involved in security oversight for the Seahawks Super Bowl parade. Did I mention that? The Seahawks, they won the Super Bowl? In case you didn't know. However, board member Alexandra Fernandez Navarro attended in my stead. Alexandra, would you like to share your thoughts or any insights from the meeting?
Thank you, Chief. I attended the meeting with the TAG chair, Jared Godfrey, FirstNet Authority CEO and Executive Director Mike Cannon, members of the TAG, and staff from the FirstNet Authority and AT&T FirstNet. Board member Jocelyn Moore also serves in the TAG but couldn't make it this time. We had important discussions on the increased coverage and engagement the FirstNet Authority has brought to Indian country. The increasing coverage solution options like deployables, mini CRDs, HPUEs, and the promise of satellite calling in the future really resonated with the tribal members as viable options to solve their challenges. They also were very impressed with the up-and-coming Fusion interoperable communication solution and are happy to see these types of innovations and investments. The tribal members expressed coverage enhancements in the rural areas have often been overlooked by carriers in the past because there was a lack of a business case for investing in coverage. That's where FirstNet has come in, and its focus on public safety and tribes has made this coverage, new coverage investments possible for them. They expressed more than once how grateful they are for FirstNet coming in to fill that gap. The TAG also met with NTIA Assistant Secretary for Communications and Information, Ariel Roth, and Chief of Staff, Brooke Donilon. The tribal members share their experience with the FirstNet network, noting that they have seen an evolution within the FirstNet Authority, including tribes as part of the solution. They really appreciate being a true partner, and they actually, one of the biggest takeaways I took from that TAG meeting was that we need to be aware of the differences in tribes and how we outreach them to make sure that they are culturally appropriate, which I think it's great advice for all of us. So I was really thankful to be there, really, really thankful. So I thank you, Chief, for having me in the role.
Thank you so much for filling in. I sure appreciate it. Next slide, please. Did I mention that the Seahawks won the Super Bowl by chance? Yeah. The PSAC is holding its biannual in-person meeting here in Dallas simultaneously with this board meeting. Yesterday, we were briefed on coverage enhancements and future coverage planning, as well as initiatives to adapt emerging technology for both public safety use. We'll be having additional technology briefings and demonstrations from AT&T FirstNet today with member engagement and feedback. It's a very popular session. Over the coming months, we will focus on our collaboration and support of the FirstNet Authority's mission. As current working groups conclude their work, we will be developing new topics for the PSAC to consider at the direction of FirstNet Authority. We will support opportunities to collaborate with the FirstNet Authority Board and staff as public safety associations convene meetings this spring and summer. The TAG will continue its outreach and engagement to ensure tribal voices are heard as the FirstNet network improves and expands. Finally, Mr. Chair, it should come as no surprise that most of the PSAC member associations have been attentively watching in earnest as Congress in both House and Senate have recently begun proceedings on FirstNet reauthorization, including your personal testimony. As attested by them and as you do now, we really continue to appreciate you and the board's support for both the PSAC and this great effort. I recognize that while you may not be able to answer today, one question that many of my PSAC member associations brought to light in recent testimony pertains to process. Since the inception of the FirstNet program many years ago, the typical proceedings have had Public Safety Advisory Committee regularly gather and meet to discuss relevant communications needs and challenges, to learn about and consider other possible solutions, and to provide both positive and constructive feedback on what is and isn't working for the public safety as we collectively build out this great network with both the authority and our contract partner. We appreciate how the board takes this input. Will themselves evaluate this feedback and either follow up with the PSAC to clarify or generate specific task orders, directing action on identified matters. As a case in point, I distinctively remember a 2024 meeting with some of you here in the room that we had at Fairfax, Virginia Fire and Rescue to ceremonially assign the orders pertaining to the reinvestment back into the network and billions of dollars in funding. For the last 5 to 6 business quarters, we have noted a significant slowdown or pause in the execution of similar task orders, with an appreciation that many federal government actions slow down with the changeover to a new administration. We seem to be well beyond what might be considered the administrative changeover window. Specific examples could include work to upgrade the network core to 5G, keeping our network competitive for speed and throughput, continued expansion of the network into rural and underserved areas, and staffing support from some of the FirstNet Authority. A case in point of this last issue, which was brought to me by the PSAC's own Tribal Advisory Group and their chair, Jared, supporting the outreach and interaction with Native America. Again, for the last 5 to 6 business quarters, the TAG continues to bring to my attention that the number of authority staff supporting their efforts has been diminished, either due to reductions in force positions either intentionally being unfilled, or reassignment of staff that has yet to come back to previous levels of support. As representatives and employees from federal, state, local, and tribal governments, we are all very aware of the critical importance, due diligence, being good stewards of public funds, of the public trust, and the need for adherence to protocol. At the same time, we also appreciate how bureaucracy is often the enemy of cutting-edge innovation, discovery, and the need to be nimble in a rapidly changing environment. Again, while not knowing necessarily or not necessarily looking for an answer today, the PSAC membership has asked me to ask if those processes and workflows in place since the inception of FirstNet are changing, and if so, will the PSAC be informed of any new processes, procedures, etc., or if not changing, when can the PSAC associations expect taskings critical to the continued growth and development of the network to continue? Thank you so much for your time, and I defer back to you.
Thank you, sir. First of all, I think you absolutely deserve an answer in regard to that. It is incumbent upon us that we listen to the voice of public safety and that our public safety advocacy group be given great weight in the directions in which they make decisions. So you are entitled to that answer. You will get that answer, and I would prefer that we give it to you in writing, because I think that is the best way for that to be handled, and point by point answer the questions that you have, and so that you may share with your membership.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate your time. Chief Wolford, advocacy.
Advocacy, we're on a roll. We'll go to the next slide. Thank you. We're going to discuss a couple of items. So the public safety engagement and feedback. We have a new FirstNet operations manual. We are going to go over some engagement highlights. And then probably most important is coverage enhancement workshops. So there's a lot going on with advocacy. This is our first quarter FY 2026, and our participation level, 257 engagements. I always start my report with some data to just talk about the numbers that you can see up on the screen. We've reached more than 13,000 stakeholders in 52 states and territories with our tribal and federal agencies across all major disciplines. We hosted 3 public safety tours at our Boulder facility with 13 visitors. This number is lower than usual, but this is over some of the holiday time periods, so it's anticipated that this would be a lower number. We are also ramping up to host many more public safety engagements at the lab coming up in the months ahead. Through these engagements, we collect 282 unique feedback items from public safety on their operational needs, capability gaps, and basically how they are every day using FirstNet, which is really important to the first responder. The direct public safety feedback is critical, as I stated, and this is how we learn and expand and enhance the network. So there are always a couple of themes. My number one for the themes is always coverage, and so that is certainly high level and certainly something that we will continue to receive feedback on. There's also macroage cover improvements, and that is highlighted by the high power user equipment. And then with the macro coverage needs that need to be captured, we will talk about the enhancement workshops, but we have received 341 responses, and that is to the geographic survey with those coverage enhancement workshops. Push to talk is another topic of great interest, and that is especially important with the forthcoming release of FirstNet Fusion. Reliability, always a theme. This is a very persistent discussion. We like positive and negative feedback from stakeholders. We certainly love to hear when it's going well, but we need to hear when it's not going well, and we're very open to that communication. So we'll continue with some robust dialogue with the public safety partnerships that we have across the nation. The most important thing when it comes to these engagements is our responders, and we do that by listening and building trust with them. So we are always open to hearing.
The FirstNet operations manual, actually I have one right here in front of me, doesn't sound very glamorous, but it is actually, it's actually a very interesting read. For those that would like to download that, you can download it at firstnet.gov. So this is a comprehensive user-friendly reference. It was designed with all of our public safety disciplines involved. It's an evolution from a previously published emergency management guide. So this talks about FirstNet tools, technologies, solutions, basically everything operational about FirstNet. It is part of the development through the public safety advocacy team. So it is something interesting, and please find it today on the website if you'd like to take a look. Some of our engagement highlights, which actually has quite a few board members that have been doing a lot of engaging, so I want to say thank you. Also a thank you to the staff for helping to coordinate any of those engagements. So in recent months, January and February, National Sheriff's Association, Major County Sheriffs of America, Major Cities Chiefs Association, I can say on behalf of the IAFC, I have been to numerous engagements also. So these are key venues where we're able to engage with law enforcement leadership. We can talk about various topics, broad topics, anything of interest to what is working for our law enforcement partners. This continues to be either virtual or on-site, local, state, federal, all the partners are involved. This is all done as the Network Experience Engagement Program of, again, the Public Safety Advocacy Team. There has been some significant Super Bowl engagement since we are noting the Super Bowl.
Which team was that?
The team is Team Public Safety and the great work that they did.
Here, here.
Keeping this event safe with the work of FirstNet Authority and AT&T. For FirstNet responders that are involved in these large-scale events, they are a heavy, heavy lift, but they are so important to keeping the community safe, to keeping the attendees safe. So I actually am going to have board member Jocelyn Moore speak out on how the Super Bowl went. I know FirstNet performed well, but I would love to hear your experience.
Thank you so much, Chief Wolford. And I would be remiss if I didn't say to Chief Lombard, congratulations, go Hawks, on their Super Bowl win. It was certainly an exciting game, and not the least of which was because of FirstNet protecting nearly 71,000 fans. That is not a small number of attendees there at Levi Stadium. But the other thing to really focus on when we think about this footprint, so Santa Clara is about an hour and a half outside of San Francisco. And when we engage with public safety, what they told us was it's not just this footprint right here in the stadium. We have a significant area of square miles where as soon as people leave this game and they've been having a really good time, we've got to make sure they get home safely. And if there are emergencies, that we are prepared to respond. And I have to say, from both of the emergency operations centers that I was able to attend, they were more than prepared to respond. So public safety always does a phenomenal job. This is an event that we all love. It's a part of our nation's culture, and it's so great to be able to witness personally all of the ways that FirstNet protects fans and allows fans to enjoy this wonderful event. Three other things that I want to say to you. So the EOCs, the emergency operations centers, one for Santa Clara was in a deep underground bunker that had been refurbished. So under, all the dirt, concrete, steel, I don't know what it was made of, but it was indestructible. So to think that we had our FirstNet device that had to penetrate all of that in order to make sure that communications was seamless, absolutely did that. Not only was this facility prepared for the Super Bowl, but they're also getting ready for FIFA. So seeing all of those joint operations, federal, state, and local, was tremendous. I also had a chance to visit the FBI Joint Operations Facility, the facility was constructed within the last 2 years. There had been a really big flood. They decided the community to build this facility, and the FBI borrowed it for purposes of the Super Bowl. It was a massive operation. Probably one of the most advanced command centers that I've seen. Absolutely fantastic. And because of FirstNet, all the communications, emergency, and otherwise were seamless. Last thing, AT&T had a staging area not too far from the stadium. So it wasn't just about what they were providing in game during the event. If an emergency happened and they needed to deploy additional equipment, it was easily accessible and at the ready. So again, when we think about the differentiation of FirstNet, those are just some of the examples that matter. So thank you so much for the time.
Thank you. That's great information. It's like you're reading my notes because FIFA World Cup beginning June 11th, and we are already involved in pre-planning engagements. Again, for the cities participating in FIFA, those public safety teams have been working on this planning and making sure that we're able to do basically the same thing that we do at Super Bowls and other large athletic events. High priority locations, we are in fact in Dallas, and to note, Dallas has the most FIFA matches in all of the U.S. cities, and they also have a semifinal match. So we are right at the seat of it. There's lots of collaboration with the Network Management Office. So they've recently conducted a series of engagements in Central Texas, because whenever we have major sporting events, right, those are planned, those are scheduled, but we know FirstNet speaks to first responders in unscheduled and unplanned ways. I believe in my last update in our public meeting, I talked a lot about catastrophic events, extreme weather events. And so this is no different when we do follow-up on those events. So some of the follow-up with the Central Texas folks has been the feedback on how the network performed when we had those floods here in Texas. And we know that was devastating and impactful to many of our responders, their families, and the community. But it's important to note that we're not just in it for the one event, that we actually follow up, we get the feedback, and we try to make any corrections of things that could have been better. So lastly, in terms of the engagement highlights, because I have one more section after that, lastly, the team participated in Big City Emergency Managers Spring Meeting. So this is where lessons learned, direct feedback. This is from emergency management stakeholders. Again, we always want to be reaching all 5 disciplines of public safety. So with that, we continue to talk about monthly engagements with FirstNet Authority Emergency Management Cohort. And this is representatives from 28 different EM agencies and organizations across the nation. So that provides us some great feedback. Last thing, coverage enhancement workshops. So we have nearly completed the initial round of coverage enhancement workshops. We have successfully conducted 53 workshops, plus several targeted engagements with federal agencies and tribal organizations. We have 3 more state and territory workshops to conduct to complete the initial round. And then, as promised, we will circle back to each state and territory to continue the conversation, provide any updates, receive any feedback, and just make sure that everybody has received information from those workshops that pertain to their area. Overall, they've been a great success. They've allowed the team to collect feedback, good listening, public safety needs coverage, any of those areas of interest we always want to hear about. I can assure you public safety's direct feedback is guiding the ongoing coverage investment decision. Once again, I know I say it a lot, but the voice of public safety is the most important voice in the network, which is why you hear me say so often with outreach and advocacy, we are here to listen, we are here to learn, we are here to get better. So there were a board member, I have board member Warren Mickens, and then Mr. Mike Cannon. You all have some intimate knowledge about coverage enhancement workshops, so if you would care to share, that would be great.
Thank you, Chief. We continue this process, and it's really about alignment, about going out and listening to public safety and making sure our updated plans that we share with them and that they are consistent with the needs of the territories. I'm happy to report that I personally attended CEWs in Utah and Kentucky, 2 very beautiful parts of the country, very different, but very beautiful. And they were happy with the feedback that we gave them. We're putting new sites in. We're dealing with situations that have been the source of pain for them, and it will improve their performance. So that was outstanding. The priorities are right, and the capabilities that we are adding will meet their needs and make us a better organization. So we're happy about that feedback. We'll continue to go back and visit with them as we complete those sites, but they are on the list, they're on the docket, and we're getting it done. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
And thank you, Chief. I was able to attend the CW in Kentucky with Warren. And again, I'll echo what he said. It was a great time. They listened. We had a lot of good back and forth. And I think one of the things that stuck out to me was when we showed them on a map where the areas that we thought that they needed coverage and they had coverage, they were able to verify that our information was correct. I think it just did a whole lot for how we go back and forth and solidify the work that we're doing and putting forth. So I appreciate the time there. Thank you so much, Chief. Back to you.
Thank you, sir. I'm just going to wrap up now with, again, another thank you to the staff for always assisting advocacy, right down to some of the small things that are never small. The calendar, the scheduling, the planning, the information feedback, receiving the data, being able to look at that, and then really being able to engage with our partners. So thank you to everyone for the assistance. Sheriff, that concludes my report. And unless you have already have questions for me?
No, I think you've had enough.
I'm open for questions or
You
comments.
were like a bad preacher. One last thing before we get out of here. Let's get to it. Now, all joking aside, it is now time for the loquacious finance report from board member Sean McDevitt.
Thank you, Chair Atkinson. It's a pleasure to be with everyone here today. May I have the next slide, please? Through the first 5 months of fiscal year 2026, the FirstNet Authority has obligated a cumulative total of $25.6 million of our operating budget. This remains well within the forecast parameters of the operating budget for the full fiscal year of 2026. The FirstNet Authority and the staff and the board continue to be financially prudent and fiscally responsible with all of our operating funds. We continue to work to ensure that the maximum amount of dollars can be reinvested into the nationwide public safety broadband network to enhance coverage and to continue to evolve the technology to meet the needs of our nation's first responders. This concludes the very lengthy Finance and Investment Committee update. Back to you, Chair.
He can handle tens of millions of dollars in less than 3 minutes, and Chief Wilford would still be talking. We hadn't pulled some stuff on my screen.
Yes, I would, because that is the most important part is our first responders. I'll talk all day about first responders.
Outstanding. Steph, we're
Give
gonna
me the floor and I'll take it.
Yeah, amen, amen. So let me get our future and programs and future planning committee Chair Rashid Scarlett. Chair.
Thank you, Chair Atkinson. All right, so we'll cover a few topics today. Coverage expansion, our new capabilities, mission criticals, deployables, and oversight. So next slide, please. Or do I even have slides? Are there no slides? All right, we're gonna wing it. Everyone buckle up. No, let's see how this goes. No, just all right. Well, so I do have notes. So I will say we've directed AT&T to deploy 135 new purpose-built cell sites across the country. These sites are specifically designed for public safety coverage, and they add to the 1,000 existing sites launched in 2024 and 25, further expanding Band 14. And as we all know, that's public safety's dedicated lane of connectivity. As far as new capabilities go, we formally launched satellite-to-device implementation. So this brings enhanced coverage and resilience to first responders in the most remote and challenging environments. We've also had control introduction of FirstNet Fusion. I know someone spoke about that earlier. So for those that don't know, that's a capability that's going to offer multiple benefits, including connecting push-to-talk with land mobile radio. And this will be a significant step forward toward true interoperability for first responders. As in regards to mission critical services, we're expanding the FirstNet mission critical push-to-talk ecosystem. This will allow third-party developers to integrate these capabilities into their own branded solution. And we're also diversifying our strategy with satellites to include both geosynchronous and low Earth orbit technologies, ensuring first responders have connectivity options no matter where they are and where the mission takes them. As for deployables, we've refreshed our compact rapid deployable inventory in the Caribbean territories with successful testing completed in February. And our deployables have been where they need to be this year. That includes a flood response in Clark Fork, Idaho, wildfire response in Ashland, Kansas, and supporting public safety agencies responding to the deadly tornadoes in Western Michigan. As for boots on the ground, our nationwide verification program completed fieldwork in Kansas, Missouri, Texas, and Washington State. this fiscal year. These reviews go beyond the data. We're on the ground verifying coverage, gathering firsthand stakeholder feedback, and testing network and deployable performance and resilience. And lastly, and this is really lastly, no, just oversight. On cybersecurity, we continue to monitor AT&T's compliance with NPSB and security requirements through monthly, quarterly, and annual performance reporting, with metrics tracked against established contract standards. This committee has also strengthened its oversight of network performance. We're tracking key performance indicators for coverage, service availability, voice and data quality, and net promoter score and recovery time objectives. That concludes the Program and Future Planning Committee update. Thank you, sir.
As we get close to closing out the meeting for today, a couple of things I want to touch on just for those of you that were not aware. We had the opportunity to speak in front of Congress, both the Senate and House subcommittees on energy and commerce, and in regard to FirstNet reauthorization. I briefed the board on that previously, but I would just say again for our members of the public, we felt like that went really well. There was tremendous interest and support from the members of Congress toward the reauthorization of FirstNet. And even as we speak, I know they are working toward the best legislation possible. And I know many of you have taken an interest in reaching out. And at the end of the day, what matters first and foremost is public safety and the input that we take care of the men and women who do this job every day. So I was honored to be up there and to be able to do that. I want to again thank the Public Safety Advocacy Committee for allowing us to speak to them yesterday and for being here. And I want to go back to your comments previously, Chief Lombard. You will get an answer. You will get it in writing. And then lastly, I would close with in the Wolford manner by saying thank you for joining us. Thank you for allowing me to continue to serve you. And with that, I'll turn it over to Executive Director Mike. Oh, by the way, I did not thank AT&T for their tour this morning of their impressive facilities, and we were certainly thankful to be there. I'm not sure if AT&T was with us today at this meeting, but that was a great facility, and we were super pleased to be able to do that. And so, Mike Cannon, comments?
Thank you, Chair Atkinson. And yes, AT&T is with us today, so thank you for joining us. And thank you to everyone else who's joining us virtually and in person here in Dallas. It was also great to connect in person this week with the Public Safety Advisory Committee, the PSAC, our partners at AT&T and local public safety. And again, Chief Lombard, thank you for your leadership you showed this past week in running the PSAC meeting, and for all you do, and for all the PSAC members who attended, and for those that are new. Thank you for your time and your service. Your work is vitally important to us, and we really do appreciate it. Hearing directly from those on the front lines always reinforces why this work matters. As we heard today, this year is off to a strong start for the FirstNet Authority. We've already supported major national events, including the Super Bowl and the State of the Union, demonstrated once again the reliability and resilience of the FirstNet network when it matters most. We also continued our coverage workshops for federal, state, and local first responders. We intend to keep that momentum going. As we've mentioned here today, looking ahead, we will support large-scale events like the FIFA World Cup while continuing our day-to-day public safety outreach across the country. At the same time, we remain focused on our core responsibilities, strong contract oversight, and strategic investments that ensure the network continues to grow, improve, and evolve to meet the needs of public safety. Thank you all for your leadership, your partnership, and dedication. We have a busy year ahead, and I'm confident we'll continue delivering for the public safety community. Back to you, Chair Atkinson.
Thank you. Any members of the board have anything they would like to address before we go? I want to make sure if you did not get an opportunity that you have the opportunity to speak. If there was something you had any questions or comments on. And I know we have the public here today. Thank you for joining us. I know that has not, we don't always have public folks being here. We appreciate the public safety being here and taking the time to join us. And certainly if you have questions or comments that you want to, I think the mechanism is to submit those.
Submit those in writing. Yeah,
submit those in writing so that we provide answers to anything that you may have as well. Anything from any board member before we go? Okay. With that, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
As Board Member Eric Gall, make a motion to adjourn.
A second. Meeting stands adjourned. Thank you.